My name is Marcus Boxler. I was born in the city of Dresden in Saxony. I am the director of the sculpture park Schlossgut Schwante. Next to this, I'm also a freelance author. I also curate exhibitions, and I'm also involved in the project management or consulting of artist estates. The environment that I grew up in very much influenced the way that I perceive art, but also the way that I perceive life in totality. I was also growing up in a working class family, so my parents didn't really have any connection to fine arts or to performative arts or anything else. What really drew my attention to culture and arts in Dresden was, on the one side, my mother started to work at the Semper Opera, and at the same time, through some friends, I heard that there's an opportunity to work at the museum and be paid for it, even at the young age of 13, 14 years old. But it very quickly began to develop into a broader and more natural relationship to art. I remember that I didn't aim to go into the professional art world right after this first touch point. I had the opportunity to be the project manager for the International Light Art Award at this very same museum. And this was at the age of 21, 22 approximately. So then I decided, okay, this is now a career to also dive into. I was under the impression that if you work in the fields of art, you're settled. You don't have to worry about money at all. But of course, this is not the reality. So there was a dark chapter in my life. I entered the world of entrepreneurship, but it had nothing to do with art. So I was on the verge of leaving the art world anyhow. It crashed, of course, and it was a very important experience on the business side, but way more important was the personal experience. I think it really made me re-engage with my inner compass and realize that it will never be the money that motivates me to do something. And the turning point, I think, was reaching out to Monopol magazine, and was this internship that let me regain the optimism to be involved in the art world. After this little detour in the entrepreneurial world, I was approached by Loretta and Daniel if I want to start working with them in the context of the artist estates, but also in the context of the sculpture park. I met new magazine editors, and they invited me to write articles for them in new magazines. I think that the emotion that describes perfectly what I wish for, I don't say aim because it's too goal-oriented. I wish for this feeling. If I can ever create something that beautiful, that touching, and even if it just touches one person, this is what I'm aiming for. The decision to move to the countryside is pretty young for me. I think that the balance that I have nowadays with the countryside, in contrast to what's happening in the city, this really is perfect for me right now, as it brings me the time and the room and the space to let things digest and to think about them, and then later on write about them, for instance. I'm very happy with what I do, with the responsibility that I have, with also the feedback that I receive. But on a personal level, I would love to learn to take this time off. I think at some point I will leave behind a little collection for who knows who. Or maybe someday I really have the opportunity to open a museum with someone else. And then, of course, I would donate all of the works to the museum. But at the same time, those works will draw a line of my personal biography. And I think this will be quite heartwarming.